Okay, girls, I'm now going to show you how to add lining to a crochet bag. We're going to be doing this on my handbag pattern, but the concept is the same for all types of crocheted bags that are thick like this. So because this is t-shirt yarn, you cannot pass this under a sewing machine because you will break your sewing machine. So you have to hand sew most of it. So we have our lining, which I have cut out, and I have decided to use this really pretty contrast fabric that I got over here at a market in Italy. And because this bag is kind of like tropical, if you think about it, it's kind of summery. So, and then I cut that out, and then I cut out some interfacing. This is the sticky kind. It's the easiest to use. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut out the fabric, and I just kind of eyeballed it. I folded it in half, measured it against my bag, and I played around with it, and I cut out my size. And then the interfacing needs to be significantly smaller than the fabric because you don't want to sew over the interfacing really because whenever you hand sew, it becomes so thick it's complicated and gets hard to sew by hand. So I always cut my interfacing much smaller than my fabric, and you want to make sure that whenever you measure your fabric for whatever bag you're making that you leave yourself a seam allowance. Usually you sew half of an inch of a seam allowance, so you need to make sure you leave that for every single side. Okay, and then also leave yourself room to fold over your fabric to make your edges perfect. So the first thing you need to do is you need to iron on your interfacing onto the wrong side of your fabric. So that would be this side. So you need to get your iron out piping hot and iron this on pretty centered, and then after we do that I will get back to you. So I have ironed this on, and I was going to say that even if you don't add interfacing, it's a good idea to iron your fabric anyway because you can only iron it once before you put it in the bag. So now we're going to flip it in half like this. And now what you need to do is you need to sew the sides together. You're going to sew the sides together about half an inch seam allowance, and so use a sewing machine because the sewing machine will sew tighter stitches than you could ever sew with your hands. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to get mine out, which is over here. Make sure that you backstitch and secure the top especially. You really want to make sure that's closed because you don't want the two sides to rip apart inside your bag. Okay, so now I'm just gonna cut off this excess because you'll feel that on the inside if you don't. Make sure you don't cut too close. Okay, that's one. All right, so this is your piece. Okay, so now I need to attach this lining. So we're gonna take it just like the way it is and place it inside, inside out, so that the insides of the lining and the bag are facing each other. And then you're going to press down so that this lays as flat as possible. Okay, and I'm going to try to make the seam kind of in the middle of the side over here, like this. And then you're going to fold over the top. So folding it down like this. I'm just going to fold down all my sides actually. So what you want to do is you're going to take a needle and thread, and you want to sew the lining so that you have this bump right here above. That's going to be your line that you follow when you sew around the bag like this. So you need to make sure that you fold over kind of the same length around. So it might be easier actually to take this out, look, and let's fold it like this. I'm going to fold mine down just a little bit further, like that. Okay. And then put it back in there. All right, so go ahead and get your needle and thread out. And start somewhere. Let's say I'm gonna start like maybe over here. I'm gonna fold this here. And I'm gonna go in and kind of at the top, you wanna do like an invisible stitch. So I'm not knotting this, I'm just gonna go back a few times so I don't have any knots or anything like that. All right, and so you're gonna be stitching around just like that. You're gonna be going through a piece, through both the stitch on the crochet bag and the fabric. And it's kind of tough because I folded it so much that I folded over the interfacing, and now it's kind of tough to go through. Oh well. I doubled up my thread because I like mine to be super strong, and now I've got all this tangled up. Oh my gosh. Okay. The more stitches you do, the less noticeable it'll be that you hand sewed this. So you want your stitches to be quite close together. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. So go around the whole bag, guys, and I'll meet you towards the end. Okay, so I'm at my first corner, and I have a little bit of extra fabric. Here's my seam. So I'm just gonna kind of fold this, you know, in a way so that it's not so big, so that it matches up. So you can fold it however way you want to. If you want it to go over like this, I think what I'm gonna do is make mine like this and then press it in there. And I'm just gonna sew this corner flat like that. And that's how you can get rid of that extra fabric. Okay, and I'm gonna continue to sew that across. Okay guys, so I just finished this bag, and I just finished the lining. It looks pretty nice, I have to say. So I doubled up on this one end because I had too much fabric, but then by the time I got on this side I didn't even have to double up. So it looks really cute, and I would just kind of take like a hook and try to poke this corner into the crochet bag down here. The fabric kind of bunches up. Try to poke it in there, and then that's it. That's the lining. That's how you add lining. And whenever I got to the end, I just kind of backstitched several times. I didn't knot it. I just backstitched, and that kind of secures the thread. And that's it. That's how you make. That's how you add lining to a bag. So if you guys would like to make this bag, I invite you to check out the full written pattern that I have in shop. It comes with a full video tutorial, very detailed, showing you everything about the base, the ribbing, this knit stitch, and even how to attach these handles. And I even tell you where you can get these exact handles. So check that out, and thanks for watching. Bye!